大批军警用栏杆甚至出动坦克，将人群阻挡在法院外，就是怕情绪激动的家属听到判决结果，可能会气得冲入法院。有的家属虚弱地倒在亲人旁，认为法院的判决根本没有道理。2013年8月，埃及明雅省的一间警局被攻击。今年3月，检方以暴动、煽动谋杀警察等罪名，判处穆斯林兄弟会529人死刑。而28号的判决，则是改将穆兄会领袖巴蒂以及682名支持者共683人判处死刑。
يعني القضايا العادية لما يبقى فيها متهم قتل واحد القضية بتتداول سنة واتنين. أنت فاهمني حضرتك؟ لما يبقى فيها متهم واحد بسم الله ما شاء الله يعني من أول جلسة على طول يعني.
纽约的人权组织表示，法官只用了数小时审理案件，且还阻止律师进行辩护，不符合正常的处理程序。而虽然最终定案仍需经过埃及总教咨询长在6月做出最后裁决，但外媒指出，法官还是有权无视他的意见，维持原判。UDN TV 黄正义编译。
Professor Sasaki, let me ask you about the Arab Spring Revolution. You have been staying in the Arab world for a long time, and you know almost every country. But how come this revolution started only within 2 years? Even every country had been affected by this revolution.
Yeah, 2 or 3 buses. You know.
Well, why? What's the causes of this revolution? What's the main, most important causes do you think that had caused this revolution?
And their dictatorship, their poorness, no job, unemployment problem, and state yet lack is very big. The wealthy people are very wealthy, and the poor is poor.
The class, right?
The class, and also education level also very big. Some are studied at Harvard, Oxford, and Cambridge University, but others just 2 or 3 years in elementary school. So the people are suffering. But this is not only the reason. There are involvement from outside. There are certain reasons to blow up. And somebody put a fire, small fire, it can make very easily. And it's happened. And why the Tunisian revolution started? One guy graduated but no job and selling Beethoven fruits and so on, and he burned himself. The promise, that's the reason. And it's exploded all the Tunisia. And Egypt, also same. Very rich people, I know many rich people. And was the best 3 OAC, the one is Egyptian, and but at the same time very poor. The rebels exist there, and the education and so on. So easy. The frustration always full of balloon. When somebody put fire, exploded. And Libya too. Libya is a little bit different. Libya doesn't reach such an educational level. And for example, Egypt is one of the example. American group supporting and Belgrade group are supporting from behind. How to spread the information to the people in a short second.
Yes.
And it's put in a fire, and the people are ready to blow up. And it's happening in Egypt. And the Libyan's case, French government very strongly willing to crush Gaddafi regime. So the French government is supporting from behind, American government supporting from behind, the British government also supporting from behind, and it started in Benghazi, eastern part of Libya. And it's continued. But these 3 countries has a different position. Tunisia is mainly not so rich country and small population, and the influence of French education is spread, so they can dialogue, negotiate. But Egypt, they have a very strong army, the biggest army in the Arab countries. So army somehow can control all the region and country. But Libyan's case, there are, as I mentioned, kingdom, not established, how can I say, nation state. And Gaddafi started Jamahiriya style, the popular governing system, and he also didn't establish a nation state. So no one can lead as a Libya. And the only can lead a tribal group, tribal leaders, and some religious leaders, or somehow ideological leader. Now in Libya, tribal leaders, the tribal group are very strong. And another one is Muslim brothers, very strong, because they are moving systematic. But not so easy to unify the Libyan as a Libyan citizens.
But you mentioned a lot of factors. Could you use those factors to explain what's happening in Syria?
Yeah.
Now we know the civil war is still going on.
Yes.
But it seems they have all kinds of those factors combined together.
Yes.
And do you think what will happen to Syria in the future? Has the civil war come to a halt? That the
Becoming bigger or
smaller, or become calmer, or the President Assad have been winning? What would be the outcome of Syria civil war?
And first of all, I'd like to say the Arabian country consists by tribes, race, different religion, wealthy, and the degree of the life condition, and so on and so on. So it's mean all Arabian society or country has a problem, inside a problem. And so they need a kind of dictator can control all the sectors. So like Saddam Hussein of Iraq, or Syrian Assad regime, or Gaddafi's regime, they are very strong power, and somebody say they are dictator. But a kind of dictator is needed. And dictator afraid for the people, maybe revolt some days and will assassinate or kill him. So dictator always giving bread and tea and sugar and minimum. But broken that. At the beginning, as I mentioned, as other Arab countries, Syrian people getting angry for the Assad regime. And they say, okay, we withdraw from Syrian army and establish SFA, Syrian Free Syrian Army, and start to fight. And some countries are willing to weakening the Syrian regime. So they support this FSA and sending jihadist Islamic command from Afghanistan, Algeria, or Tunisia, Morocco, and so on, so on. So
those countries are Saudi Arabia
and Qatar.
Qatar.
Yeah. And Turkish Erdogan gave a facility to pass weapon and money and fighters to enter to Syria, and chemical weapon too. So
you think chemical weapon is provided from outside?
Outside. But it's continued and continued, and some people, like Nusra group, is outsiders.
Right.
They are like, killing the Syrian soldier, the cutting body and take land and so on. The too bad. So America fed up. It's too much. And then America has lost their fighting spirit, and they reduced. Then Saudi watching America already escaped from this problem, so we can reduce. And Qatar also a little bit reduced. And finally remained Turkey. So I think it cannot continue because and FSA's fighter returned to government army. Not all, but some of them returning. So they are willing to keep Syria as a nation, not foreigners invading and crashing everything.
And that's why President Assad had announced that they're going to have a presidential election in June.
Yes.
That means pretty much the situation is under control now.
Yes. I don't know. It's very similar with Egypt. Egypt is a very complicated and confused condition. Egyptian government willing to let Sisi, former defense minister, to be a president.
Right.
And when Sisi become president, the social will become calm.
That's your theory,
Yeah.
that those
And
countries
Syria also,
need a dictator
yeah,
to...
Syria also, look, everybody support Assad. What's the problem? So they are willing to restart. That's why I think Assad decided to be an election on coming June.
Why some of the rich countries like Saudi Arabia or Kuwait can escape from this revolution? I mean, somehow they have remained their control, the old ruler. Well, why is that?
I don't know. It's like a disease. Sick. If you're a wealthy family, you can go hospital. You can take good medicine. You can have a good food, so you can keep your health. The wealthy country, they know how distribute the money to the people
Right.
to finish the frustration, give a chance to work, and so. But poor country cannot do it. But the exception is Saudi Arabia. Kuwait population is less than 1 million. Qatar, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates are also not so big population, and their income is very big. So they can distribute money for the people, or maybe give a chance to work, or maybe give a chance to study abroad. But Saudi Arabia population becomes more than 30 million. And the unemployment problem is existing in Saudi Arabia. 1/4 of the population in Saudi Arabia is poor level. So they are explode at any moment. That's why one of the princes condemned the government, Saudi government. Saudi royal family condemned Saudi regime is not democratic and so on. So we are like imprisoned people. We have no right to go outside, and we cannot communicate freely with other people and so on. And another Rouge prince also complained the royal family. And I mean, the scholars in Saudi Arabia complain government. And as I mentioned, Al-Khatif Shiite people complain Saudi government. So gradually it's coming out. And it's depend on the economic condition. The worst case is now Saudi Arabia. And Bahrain is not an oil producing country, are facing a similar problem. And Kuwait and Qatar and United Arab Emirates, they have a certain level of economy. So the disease is more right.
In case of Saudi Arabia, once the king had passed away,
Yes.
the succession, although it had been chosen, the crown prince,
Yes.
to become the new king,
Yes.
but still there's a tension inside the country. Do you think that would create a big issue if the king had passed and there's a succession crisis? Is it possible?
And one of my friends, a Japanese friend, living in Saudi Arabia more than 40 years. And he's not like me, he's very gentle. That's why he has many high standard level Saudi friends. I asked one day, what will happen in Saudi Arabia? He said that nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen.
But if King Abdullah died, the condition will change.
Okay.
I don't know, how can I expect and forecast about the Saudi future? He said like this. And look, king is king. And the crown prince, for example, Prince Salman, for example, or other king, their defense minister, their information minister, their the interior minister, and so on, so on. So the important person keep a security position. The security position is not popular between the people. So these people becoming higher and higher, and if he became a king, everybody hate him. So And King Abdullah was old age, nice time the prince, and he became a nice prince. But the second generation is facing very difficult. At the beginning, nobody say the king is wrong, but the second generation, king is some problem.
Right,
The third king is bad. Like this, gradually. So I think the Saudi condition is unfortunately fragile.
Final question. About 2 or 3 years ago, when there's a revolution, and then Turkey seemed to become a new leader
Yes.
in the Middle East, and American and the West seem to think Turkey would be an alternative and a good model for the rest of all those Middle East countries.
Arab or Middle Eastern
right?
countries.
And it turned out that Turkey is not that good after all. So what would happen? What would those Arab countries, after they go through a revolution, is there any model or any good way of democracy that they can follow?
As I mentioned, the Erdogan failed. He could be a good example for the Middle Eastern countries' leaders. But unfortunately, he got enough support, 49.8%. Then after, he changed his character. And the relation with the neighboring country became very bad. So now, by Erdogan system, Turkey cannot lead or cannot be a good example for other countries. But if something happened, as I mentioned, for example, Mr. Gül get out from the ruling party, or Baranj or Babajan get out from the ruling party, and they establish a new party, or kick out Erdogan, and return to the right direction. And if Turkish society and government going good, it will be a leader. And Turkey itself has such a potential, because they have a long history, 600 years more, Ottoman Empire. And the Ottoman Empire is like a United States or United Nations, because Ottoman Empire, Eastern European countries,
Right.
Asian countries, Central Asian Arabs are gathering.
Right.
And they choose from that ministers, and the Jewish people also became a minister. So it's like a United Nations. And between the Ottoman Empire area, it's a free trade, free passage. So it's like, how can I say, globalization of the economy. It's already they experience, so they can establish new system in the region, I think. I hope so.
Thank you very much, Professor Sasaki, for your time and your insight on what's happening in Middle East. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
我们等一下回来再看今天有哪些重要的国际消息。